Available now on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com is the book called DUI Jury Trial, which is the true story of a truck driver in Illinois who was charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. Not only was he facing a revocation of his driver's license, but also a lifetime disqualification of his commercial driver's license, which would prevent him from ever driving a semi-truck again. This book includes the backstories of the truck driver, the lawyers that defended his case, and the DUI expert witness who analyzed the case and then testified at trial as to the proper protocol procedures of the field sobriety test as well as the breathalyzer tests. This nonfiction novel also includes the actual court transcripts from the jury trial, a courtroom showdown in which the final verdict would determine the fate of the defendant's livelihood. The book DUI Jury Trial is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Fix bayonets, comrades. This is the Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shoutout Show with your host, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Michael Francis Tuman. Every Saturday, noon to 1 on WRMN 1410 AM, the Fox River Valley Media Network out of Elgin. Streaming on WRMN1410.com. Follow us on Facebook Live. The studio number here for call-ins is 847-931-1410, or hit me up in the Facebook comments. Today, I have a guest, which is Major Ranger Joe Kalasek from the Illinois National Guard. I had the privilege of meeting him on one of my deployments, in fact, my last deployment to Afghanistan. And I'll tell you, everywhere you look in the military, you're going to find someone that's an expert mentor for you. And, you really got to look, and you got to spot that. And I had the privilege of being able to walk into Joe's office almost every day, sometimes 3 times a day, to ask him why I shouldn't kill everyone. And he always had a good answer because I never did.
That is true. That's a true story.
Yeah. So, Joe, did I help you out sometimes to let you bounce stuff off of me?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what the Army was all about.
Yeah, you had to keep tight. Keep your friends closer than your enemies. By all means, people say keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Well, you got to keep them outside of arm's length because friends aren't going to stick a knife in your back.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned mentorship. I found that mentors were everywhere in the military, and you didn't really have to search very hard to find something that you happened to be looking for in that moment, to find a leader stand up and give you that guidance. It wasn't always the guy that was in charge of you, but somebody to your left or right had the answer, and you just had to look around for that mentorship.
Yeah, that's true. It's sometimes when you're in a real new situation, you gotta judge people. Well, look at them, see if they're gonna understand you, and then be able to approach them. So today, I wanted to talk about something that's always highly confusing to a lot of people out there, and that's Veterans Day. Now, we have a lot of patriotic holidays in this country, Veterans Day being one of them. And Veterans Day is for anyone that's a veteran, that has served in the armed forces of the United States, for us, for our purpose, for the United States. Because if you serve in a foreign country's army, then you're a veteran of that foreign country. Or it's anyone that's currently serving. So if you serve one day, you're considered a veteran. So Veterans Day falls on November 11th. Now, some people get it confused with Memorial Day, which falls on the last Monday in May. And that last Monday in May is for soldiers that have passed in the line of duty, service members, not just soldiers. We're talking about Navy guys, the Marines, the airmen, airwomen, I don't know what, air peoples, and of course the guardians of Space Force now. And listen,
is airfolk.
What?
Airfolk.
Airfolk. Yeah, that sounds good, airfolk. But hey, if you are a veteran or currently serving in the Space Force, please call in 847-931-1410. I mean, I would love to talk to you about your view on veteran stuff and how you feel to be a veteran of the Space Force. Yes.
All right, we've got Paul here. Hi, Mike. And we've got Brendan saying hello.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Brendan. And Paul is going to, so just to give a lead in here, Paul is going to be with us next week. Paul is an expert in concealed carry and everything around concealed carry. So next week's show is going to be focusing on concealed carry. So if you have questions coming in, please call next week between noon and 1, same day, Saturday.
We've got a comment from the commander, Mark Smith of American Legion Post 57, saying here, the City of Elgin, in partnership with American Legion Post 57, will honor our nation's veterans during the annual Veterans Day ceremony, scheduled to take place at 11 a.m. on Monday, November 11th.
Okay, that's great. Marky B said you were going to be contacting us, and I'm glad you're listening in and making the comments on Facebook Live. I used to be the commander of Post 104 of the American Legion, and I'm currently the commander of the 9th District of the American Legion. But I welcome any Legionnaire to come on to my show, or any VFW guy to call in with any of your posts that are doing anything, and let the people know. As you know, we have a world reach out here. We get people from Australia, get people all over the world with the Facebook Live, and of course, streaming, just the audio version, streaming on, WRMN.com. So WRMN1410.com. So you could stream the radio show. I do it from my house. It's great. It's better than 560 and 890 combined. So Veterans Day is November 11th. Memorial Day is the the last Monday in May. And then you have Armed Forces Day, which is May 18th or around that event. And that's for people that are currently serving in the military, either in the reserves or on active duty. Mike Tuman.
Yeah, American Legion posted that.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot. You can, if you want to get my webpage on this, it's CGR, so Charlie Golf Romeo Papa Sierra Yankee Lima Ida Nora King November King .com.
Isn't it also Flying Monkey
.net,
5?
.net.
Is it Flying Monkey 5 November?
Flying Monkey 5 November.com is my author page.
Okay.
But I simplified that, so it's just simply Scilink.net. Either one will take you to my author page. Because, Flying Monkey 5 November, the story on that is, in 5 November, I didn't realize that was Guy Fawkes Day until later on.
Cool.
Everyone knows who Guy Fawkes is, right?
Minor detail.
I'm sure a lot of people don't. He tried to blow up English Parliament.
Oh, my goodness.
So he was the ultimate nihilist, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, that's a good term.
Nihilism, yeah. And, when I went to Bosnia, my commander at the time wanted to have radio call signs that reflected the Wizard of Oz, because we had 3 PSYOP teams out there. And, of course, it makes sense. You got the Lion, you got the Tin Man, and then you got the Scarecrow, right? All because this captain played way too much Magic the Gathering, and he wanted to be the Wizard, the Wiz. It's what he wanted his radio call sign to be, the Wiz. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm not going to be Dorothy.
I think you should have been Dorothy.
I should have been Dorothy, though. I'm not going to be Toto. So I says, you know what? I'm going to be the Flying Monkeys, because the Flying Monkeys are awesome, right? They terrified me as a child. But the best thing about that was when I left the gate and I called in on the radio, everyone knew who Flying Monkey 5 November. So 5 was because I was operations sergeant, and November because I was an NCO at the time. So Flying Monkey 5 November, all the guys at the gate knew. When I went through the TOC, the Tactical Operations Center, to get my ticket punched, you had to talk to all the special people like the engineers, the weather people, the field artillery guys, to make sure, the medevac guys, so everyone knew that you were going to be out there on the road in case you needed help. Well, everyone knew me as Flying Monkey 5 November, so they knew my face. And when I called in for anything, they knew who I was. So you get much better. You got a memorable call sign.
Yeah.
You get much better service out there. And if I had to call in for artillery support, the one time we did call in for artillery support, it was for, we wanted illumination rounds. And 3 days later, we were denied. Like, it took them 3 days to say no, and we wanted them right now. Do you ever run into something like that, Joe?
Only occasionally.
Anyway, so so the Veterans Day is not as solemn as Memorial Day. I mean, okay, so how did it come to pass? Well, first of all, they had, after the Civil War, they started having a Decoration Day. And that was kind of like the original Memorial Day, and where everyone would go and decorate the graves of the Civil War veterans that had died in the line of duty. And then after World War I, we had, the war wasn't actually ended. It was an armistice. So on November 11th, all the powers signed an armistice, which is just a ceasefire. All right, it's not a peace treaty. The war was technically not over, but they stopped shooting at each other. And that was basically what I, in my opinion, historians may argue with me, but that was World War I with radio communications, almost instant communications across the entire Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean via radio, was the first time that we had instant updates to people on the way the war was going and the casualties and everything else. So after there were enough severe casualties and people got pictures coming back, photographs coming back and being published in newspapers of the absolute destruction of the First World War, people wanted it stopped. They wanted, they didn't want their sons, their fathers, their uncles, their cousins, everyone coming home in a pine box. Everyone dying or being, and you had a lot. You had a lot of people coming back massively disfigured, disabled, wounded, mental frustration. They used to call it shell shock. Now we call it PTSD, but a lot of greatly injured people. And before, it was kind of rare for you to survive a wound in the war. You would get infected, you would die. The Civil War, medicine started getting better. World War I started getting a little better. Surgical methods, and people were coming back massively disfigured, which isn't. And when you see that, you also want the shooting to end. So the armistice was really celebrated. The actual, I think it was June 28th, right? Yeah, June 28th of 1919 is when the peace treaty, I had to use my cheat notes there. I'm not a good guy on dates. But June 28th was the actual peace treaty. So why don't we do it on June 28th, Versailles, the Treaty of Versailles? Because we didn't sign the Treaty of Versailles. Because that included the League of Nations, right? And Woodrow Wilson brought that to Congress. And by this, before World War I, you had an isolationist feeling in the United States, like what happens in Europe is not our problem, kind of like the Monroe Doctrine. What happens in Europe isn't our problem. But with international trade and everything else, it started to become our problem. But Congress at the time did not want to be part of a League of Nations. They didn't want other countries telling us what to do in whatever way. So they refused to sign the Marseilles, the Treaty of Marseilles. So later on, they signed the Berlin Agreement, which ended the war between the United States and Germany at the time. And under that, we received all the rights to what was given in the Versailles Treaty, but we had signed a separate thing, and we had not agreed to be part of the League of Nations. So later on, they still weren't celebrating Veterans Day. It wasn't like an immediate thing. All right, so later on, they decided to have a day for veterans, but that kept bouncing around. Once it was in June, then they wanted to make it October. They did have, I guess, in the 50s and 60s, they made it like the fourth Monday in October. But that didn't last long, and it just flew back to Armistice Day, which was being celebrated as Armistice Day. And they say, why don't we make it a duplicate, Armistice Day and Veterans Day? You agree, Joe?
Sounds like a winning combination there.
I know. And so we have, and what's amazing is now we've got a thing called Patriots Day. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for September 11th. So I'm not saying September 11th, 9/11, the 9th month, the 11th day, as opposed to Armistice, the 11th month and the 11th day. At the 9th month and the 11th
You're
day.
getting my 11ths confused.
I know, the 11th. But that's a holiday that they celebrate for everyone that's patriotic and wants to defend the United States, whether or not you're a veteran in the active military, because I think that was the day that the United States most recently felt attacked as a whole, completely as a whole. I think almost everyone in the United States felt vulnerable. And when you feel vulnerable, like when you're cold, you're all going to huddle up for warmth. When you feel vulnerable, you circle the wagons and you protect yourself. So now it's not an official national holiday, but it's kind of unofficial. And I think in the future, it might actually become a national holiday. What do you think, Joe?
Agree. I totally agree.
And yeah, I like the idea of Patriot Day. Being a veteran, I'm special, but so many people out there, they say to you on Veterans Day, but even more so on Memorial Day, thank you for your service. That's okay, but please be sincere when you say it, because people can tell when you're not sincere.
That's true. That is true.
What do you say, Joe?
I think that Patriots Day will pick up popularity with the more modern crowd. They can relate a little bit more to the more recent events. And as more of the veteran story gets told from 9/11 on to today, and those stories start becoming more popular with society as the old World War II, Korea War, Vietnam stories became popular with people not popular, but people got curious about veterans, what it is, and so they were. It kind of moved like waves, right? Whenever we would have a major event that drew our military into something, then the population got pretty interested in veterans and veterans' rights and whatnot, and then after a time, as we're seeing now, it kind of wanes, and veterans aren't they're not at the top of the list to be paying attention to. But as those stories come out and they're more popular, and famous people can link up with a veteran story that's really good, and it makes it to Hollywood or the radio or whatever, then people are very interested in
5 minutes. All right. So the stories are there, and we're talking like I remember I joined in 1982. All right. So 1975 was the end of the Vietnam conflict. The draft stopped in 1972. So by the time I had joined, the last guy that was drafted was 10 years ago, right? So it was an all-volunteer army, but there was still a hollow army, and there was still a bad feeling about Vietnam. The people had a bad taste in their mouth and everything. Mm-hmm. And so they really looked, for almost no reason, they looked down on the military. And I could feel it. I had windows shot out because they knew I was military in Texas. And it's like, what? You know? But then, you know, events come up. You know, events, Desert Storm came up in 1990.
Right.
In 1983, we had Grenada. That was a blip on the map there. You know, and
Don't forget Panama.
Panama was 1989, right?
Yeah.
89, 90?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and those were big advertised
Don't
things.
forget the war on drugs.
The war on drugs, yeah. Well, that's the Coast Guard's war. All right, and
I know it was pretty hot and active in the 80s.
so they people started being drawn. They started painting a better picture of the military. But I think in 1990, when Desert Storm shot up, you know, and we said, "Oh my God, Kuwait's got invaded, and Saddam Hussein's he was made the most evil person on earth, and we had to go defeat him." And we did. We built up for 90 days, and then we crushed them in 3 weeks. Just absolutely crushed, annihilated everything in 3 weeks. And people are like, "Yeah, that's the home team." And now you got a big plus on the military. People are looking positively on people, and that war was fought logistically and support-wise by a lot of the National Guard and a lot of the reserves. It wasn't just active duty, so it was your citizen soldier. And now people are looking at, hey, this isn't some guy that I've never met that joined from Tennessee and everything. This is my next door neighbor went over there and fought that, you know? And they can better relate. So 3 minutes. I've been talking, you know, I could talk a lot in 2 minutes.
I would hope so. You got an hour-long show.
Yeah. So, yeah. Can you? So give me a little music lead in when I really have to cut it off. But yeah, so if you're listening in, we're talking a little bit about Veterans Day. If you have a question about these military holidays and how the military reacts or how veterans react, please call in at 847-931-1410. It's like I'm begging. Okay, I say you can't. Maybe I said this is exclusive. You know, I'll have to go through it and judge whether you're worthy. Maybe you get more people with exclusivity. So it's 847-931-1410. We're here on Douglas Avenue at WRMN Studio 14. It's WRMN1410.com. You can follow us on Facebook Live, or you could stream us over the internet if you can't get, you know, if you can't get the live broadcast over the radio waves, AM 2,000 watts, smashing out. You know, I was driving in and right around Schaumburg, it comes in really well. So if you're out in this way, tune in to 1410.
We got another comment here by Paul. Happy Marine Corps birthday.
Oh yeah, that's the 10th.
Birthday. Happy birthday, Marines.
So that's tomorrow, right? October 10th.
That would be
November
If you're a Marine
November
and I'm
10th.
wrong, please call in. But I think the Marine Corps' birthday, November 10th. November 10th. I could Google it, but then you'll see my hands going like this.
It's tomorrow.
Forgive us
It's 10. Yeah, so
for not touting the Marine Corps, but
the Marine,
we are Army, after all.
the second oldest continuous military service in the United States. Because people don't realize that the Navy shut down after the Revolutionary War.
Yep.
Didn't come back till 1812.
But they're always there when we need them,
Yes, they are.
right?
Well, we can always take the ships out of mothballs. I'd like to see the battleships come out.
I'm thinking we might.
We might. It's drone battleships.
Right on.
You could take that 16-inch cannon.
But for all the veterans out there, do enjoy your Veterans Day on Monday. There are a lot of businesses that are pro-veteran out there that are giving great opportunities to veterans on Monday.
Awesome. So, folks, we're going to take a quick time out. You're listening to Michael Tuman and special guest. Thanks so much for joining us today, of course, here on the Chief Guard of the Republic. Awesome. Stay tuned. Again, if you would like to call our main phone lines here, it's 847-931-1410. Don't forget, we are also on YouTube.com at WRMN Radio. You can also message us on our Image 360 info number at 505-926-1410. 505-926-1410. And we'll be back with more in just a bit. Stay tuned. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What's the 505 area code?
That's 505. I have to look it up.
Yep.
We'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back.
Get ready for an unforgettable Saturday night of music on WRMN AM 1410. Starting at 7 p.m., join Court Stevens live from Studio 14 for the CD Showcase. Court mixes together a blend of his favorite country music tunes because, as he says, a song remembers when. Then at 9 p.m., don't miss the Pure American Country Radio Show, hosted by the legendary Hall of Fame disc jockey and voice of the Grand Ole Opry, Bill Cody. Enjoy the best in classic country alongside today's real country hits, perfect for every fan of the genre. But the fun doesn't stop there. At 11 p.m., join country music enthusiast Jim Dandy and Mike Patrick for Branson Country USA. With a rotating roster of special guest stars from the vibrant Branson entertainment scene, you'll get a taste of the best talent in country music. So grab your boots and settle in for a night filled with heartwarming tunes and legendary sounds. Tune in every Saturday night from 7 p.m. to midnight on WRMN AM 1410, where the heart of country music comes alive. Get ready for an unforgettable Saturday night of music on WRMN AM 1410. Starting at 7 p.m., join Court Stevens live from Studio 14 for the CD Showcase. Court mixes together a blend of his favorite country music tunes because, as he says, a song remembers when. Then at 9 p.m., don't miss the Pure American Country Radio Show, hosted by the legendary Hall of Fame disc jockey and voice of the Grand Ole Opry, Bill Cody. Enjoy the best in classic country alongside today's real country hits, perfect for every fan of the genre. But the fun doesn't stop there. At 11 p.m., join country music enthusiast Jim Dandy and Mike Patrick for Branson Country USA. With a rotating roster of special guest stars from the vibrant Branson entertainment scene, you'll get a taste of the best talent in country music. So grab your boots and settle in for a night filled with heartwarming tunes and legendary sounds. Tune in every Saturday night from 7 p.m. to midnight on WRMN AM 1410, where the heart of country music comes alive.
In the middle of the night, everything will be all right if you listen to Coast right here on WRMN, 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Noory with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Beef Villa's 3 locations offer much more than their signature Italian beef. Try the Italian sausage, roasted chicken, and more. There's a big variety of delicious side dishes. Beef Villa uses quality ingredients from homemade recipes, and they purchase top-of-the-quality food products from their vendors to bring you the absolute best tasting of foods. Beef Villa's great service and quality are waiting for you, but you won't be waiting long because it's always hot and fresh. Visit beefvilla.com.
If your idea of therapy involves a fishing rod, a tree stand, or a campfire, then you need American Outdoors Radio. Host John Cruz speaks your language, whether it's about the best lures, tracking game, or that one buddy who always forgets to bring the beer. John's got the tips to sharpen your aim, the hacks to pack lighter, and the stories to keep you entertained. Again, that's American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz. Saturdays at 7 a.m. on WRMN 1410. Or stream it at WRMN1410.com. Get ready to outfish, outhunt, and outcamp them all on American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz.
Six Bayonets, comrades, this is the Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shoutout Show, coming to you on 1410 AM WRMN out of Elgin on the Fox River Valley Media Network, streaming live on WRMN1410.com, or you can follow us on Facebook Live on the WRMN channel. Our studio number is 847-931-1410. You could hit us up in comments in the Facebook comments, or you could text us at
505-926-1410.
I'm going to have to add that text onto my cheat sheet here so I don't forget this stuff. Sooner or later, I may have this memorized. But yeah, so we were talking about Veterans Day, which is coming up on Monday, and there's all over the place. There's events happening for veterans. A lot of businesses have veterans discounts. A lot of restaurants offer free meals for veterans, and you can take advantage of that. I lost my train of thought. My post, we're going to Fogo de Chao, which is it's not a freebie, it's a 50% cut for veterans, which is significant. And what I see there, which is nice, right? Fogo de Chao is a little upscale, is that the young veterans come in there with their girlfriends or their significant others, and sometimes maybe some children. But for their girlfriends, they give them, their significant others, wives and everything, they give them like a 10% discount. So it's with that with the price, a 50% discount, you're saving about $30, and you get to take your significant other out to a nice restaurant. So I'm sure they could be hitting up the other chain restaurants and everything, or locals, for a free meal, or pay for this one. So there's our veterans organization. We go into the schools. We don't invade them, but the 3rd and 4th graders are having, in the Schiller Park School, are having a concert in the morning for veterans. It's a veterans concert, and we've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now. And I think the one thing that you can't purchase anywhere else that you get as a veteran is when you put on your veteran uniform, which we have, or a veteran shirt, which is highly recognizable. When we have one for the American Legion, and we go in there with our service caps on, these kids look at you like you're a hero, like you single-handedly won the war yourself, all these 3rd and 4th graders. And so you got to carry yourself, and you got to behave in such a way as to continue to have the respect, because these kids give you respect without you ever have to earn it. And I don't think you get that anywhere else. That's like one of the benefits they don't tell you when you join the military. Listen, kid, you join now when you're 18, and when you're 50, you'll be going into the schools, and these 3rd and 4th graders will be looking at you like you're a god, like you're Rambo, like you're a 4-star general. They will be all impressed, and you didn't have to do anything but your 3 years, and you get the GI Bill.
And a free meal at Applebee's.
A free meal at Applebee's later on, if that's still going. One of the things I hope we never have is another event. I think we've passed the 1972 to 1983 part where the military was really underappreciated. The veterans are underappreciated. When did they start? Why don't one of you Vietnam veteran guys call in? Because I know that you guys were instrumental in. I know we go to the Dunkin' Donuts veterans over in Morton Grove, or it might be on the Niles side, at the Dunkin' Donuts. It's just east of Harlem on Dempster. And every Tuesday, all these veterans meet. But the group was primarily started by the Vietnam Veterans Association. But we have World War II, a couple World War II guys, a couple Korean guys, mostly Vietnam. But then we have younger guys like myself for after. But they were instrumental in these guys there in Chicago having a welcome back day for the Vietnam veterans that they never really got, And that didn't happen until the 80s. And that should have happened right after the draft, after cessation of hostilities, where we pulled completely out of Vietnam. They should have had a parade for those guys, because all those guys were great. But I think we've passed that, and for like since 1983, that's like 41 years, the veterans have a real strong support system within the country. You agree, Joe?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that all started in the 90s as we started to get more visibility on all the help that the military was doing for the country, like when we went to the floods in 93, when the Mississippi flooded, or when there's hurricanes and they call out the National Guard, or the unit that I was with from Louisiana when I was in Iraq, they had to volunteer an extra year to clean up, which they willingly did because it was their homes, to clean up from Hurricane Helen. Helen? Was it Helen?
Katrina.
Katrina, yeah, right.
Yeah, Katrina was a big one. They had to call a lot. Louisiana, especially, they were like, "Listen, you took the bulk of our National Guard."
Yeah,
You know?
and I think that, like you said, when Desert Storm happened, they called up a lot. They started using the National Guard in a different way, and it became a little bit more publicized that we had these hometown heroes right in our own hometowns, right? And there's an armory near our, in our town or whatever, and there's guys that go in there. We never really knew what they did until, I would say, the 90s, and certainly after 9/11, when, mostly the National Guard was pulled for a lot of duties overseas. And so I think it became a lot more popular just because people started to see it more often in their daily lives.
Yes.
All right, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. Hey, it's everybody.
Oh, great. How you doing? What's your name, sir?
Hey, good. This is Mark Smith. I think I chimed in earlier on.
Oh, yeah. Mark Smith, commander of the
Yep.
Elgin American Legion.
Yes. Hey, happy early Veterans Day to you both.
Thank you, and to you too, sir.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt. Thanks for Matt for running the board and the phones today. Appreciate
Absolutely.
I've never met a bad guy named Matthew.
True.
you. Right?
Yeah, I know, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I'm sure our paths have crossed somewhere. I'm one of the current senior vice for the 11th district as well, so I'm sure I've probably met you at one point or another.
Yeah, probably down in Bloomington, or when they had that when Joe had the other Joe Lampert, the
Yeah.
department commander, had his thing over there by O'Hare.
Yeah. You know what? I missed that one, so I didn't catch up with you there. But yeah, hey, thanks for the show. I did put it out on our Legion Facebook page as well, so we can try and hopefully get some local vets.
If you would kindly
around
correct the
Fox River.
spelling of my name.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just throw WRMN under the bus because I took a screenshot of their Saturday scheduling, and that's the way it was on there. So
Oh,
I gotta fix
okay.
theirs first.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but thanks for all you guys are doing. Thanks for the show and just highlighting. I think you talked about Elgin's Veterans Day thing. Good to hear that you guys are in the schools. Our local library, Gale Borden Library, hosts a similar thing. They actually started in October called Veterans Voices, and you can either sign up as a veteran to go into the schools, like you were saying, or you can actually record a video and that classes would play, because there's so much desire to have veterans, and then there's really a lack of volunteers, quite honestly, to go in to hit them all. So yeah, they do that as well, which is really neat. And they also have a veterans panel, which they did last month, end of last month, and then people can come in and ask veterans questions. 4 or 5 different veterans they have up on this panel and what their experiences were, good and bad, that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, we run that same type of scenario at our high school, a panel of veterans every period, and the kids really respond well to it. They like having the veterans in the schools.
Yeah, just one quick funny story. I'm with the Legion Riders too, so one of our riders went to one of the elementary schools a couple years ago, and he in Vietnam, he was on the Quad 50 and all this kind of stuff, and he had all these great things that he had done, and they gave him a real nice tour of the school, and they had a program and all this stuff. And at the end, he said, "Well, does anybody have any questions?" And one kid raised his hand. He goes, "Sure." And he's waiting for this military question. The kid says, "How old are you?"
I know they're amazed when you tell them how old you are. They're like, "People live that long?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, I just wanted to call in and say Happy Veterans Day. You guys are always welcome to swing by the Legion in Elgin. Maybe we can meet up for lunch one Saturday or something, or after you get done with the show or something. I'd love to host you over there. And yeah, if you're ever looking for any guests, I'm sure we got plenty of guests that would like to come on from the Legion in Elgin and get on there. If you ever need anything, just let us know.
Oh, absolutely, man. If you got a big event happening and you want to come in the week before that event happens to even push it further, come on in. I'm happy to have someone as long as you control the language and don't use any curse phrases and don't talk about anything too traumatic in the military.
I do my best. Yeah, I do my best. But yeah, no, for sure. I won't take up any more of your time. I just wanted to call and say hey, and appreciate what you guys are doing, especially for the local veterans. Hopefully we'll stir up some more interest here and get some more listeners, some more callers, and some more engagement for you.
Okay, quickly, what address is your post? What's your post number? What's the address? And when do you have your meetings?
We're post 57. We're
that's
at
a low
820 North Liberty Street.
And when are your meetings?
Our meetings are the second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m.
Cool. So like any veterans out in Elgin there, man, you only have to serve one day after 1941, December 7th, 1941, one day on active duty, and have a not dishonorable discharge under honorable conditions. And, there's honorable and then there's discharges under honorable conditions. And then, and you could be a member of the Legion now. So if you want to join up with other Legion members and remember some old times, shoot out on the second Tuesday of the month to the post 57 at 7:00 and say, hey, here's my 214, or here's my discharge papers, my 220 or the DD 220, and I want to join. I'm sure you'd be glad to have them.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate the shout out. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks for.
Well, yeah, have a great rest of the weekend and have a happy Veterans Day. Thank you.
Happy Veterans Day. Thank you.
Any other commanders of any other posts, I'll give you free and equal time. I'm not Saturday Night Live. I don't put it on the last second and don't give equal time to competition. But, it's really not a competition. If you're a member of Legion, you're a member of the Legion. Used to, on the police department, we used to say there was there's 25 districts back when I was on. There's 25 districts when I got on, and he said if you don't like one, you could always fit into another because they're all run a little differently. So if you have a problem with one Legion, you could find another one. Maybe it'll be different and maybe it'll suit you. Yeah, 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Unless you want to take a break. We can take a little break if you'd like.
Why don't we take a little break?
All right, we'll take a quick time out. We'll be back with more in just a bit. Stay tuned.
It's easier than you think for pests to threaten your family's health. Ticks, which spread dangerous diseases, hide in tall grasses and even on your pets. Rodents easily invade your home, contaminate food, and can carry more than 35 diseases. Mosquitoes, which breed in standing water, transmit many diseases. Get the facts you need to protect your family at pestworld.org. It's that easy. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
Haven't been to the dentist in a while? Bender Dental Care in Elgin has a new patient welcome offer. Complete exam, regular cleaning, consultation, and x-rays for only $29. Okay, that bears repeating. A complete exam, regular cleaning, consultation, and x-rays for only $29. Bender Dental Care has a verified 5-star Google rating. It doesn't get any better than that. Family dentistry at its best. Bender Dental Care in Elgin.
Political party poopers got you down? Shake it off and join me, Dennis Sonar Green, every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. on WRMN for A Political Talk Show, where we cut through the doom and gloom with a focus on America first, constitutional values, and a populist perspective that puts you, the citizen, at the center of the conversation. At WRMN, the talk of the town, we're not afraid to challenge the status quo and bring you the straight talk you need. Whether you're frustrated with the political establishment or looking for a clear, some nonsense analysis, this show has you covered. Tune in. Let's take on the issues together with a fresh, unfiltered approach. Catch us every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. on WRMN, A Political Talk Show. WRMN, the talk of the town.
The lightest, fluffiest pancakes are calling your name at JoJo's Diner, 1935 West Gulf Road in Schaumburg. JoJo's has a huge breakfast menu featuring skillets, eggs Benedict, and so much more. Don't stop at breakfast. JoJo's also offers great burgers, sandwiches, and shakes. And for mouth-watering prime rib, try JoJo's for dinner. They have such a versatile menu. JoJo's Diner is family-owned and operated, and it's one of Schaumburg's best-kept secrets. Visit jojosdiner.com today.
For exceptional home-cooked meals, visit the longest family-owned restaurant in Elgin. Paul's Family Restaurant at Lawrence and McLean takes pride in their fresh daily specials like steaks, fish, pasta, soups, and more. Paul's fresh buttermilk pancakes and breakfast skillets are phenomenal. As you walk in, you can't help but notice owner Elaine's wonderful eye for detail. The toughest decision you'll have to make is what size leftover box to take home. Call 847-695-8687.
Fixed bayonets, comrades. This is the Chief Guard of the Republic Veteran Radio Shout-Out Show with your host, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Michael Francis Tuman. Every Saturday, noon to 1, WRMN, 1410 AM, the Fox River Valley Media Network out of Elgin. Streaming on WRMN, 1410.com. Follow us on Facebook Live. The studio number here to call in is 847-931-1410. You could drop us a comment in the Facebook comments on the Facebook Live, or you can text in at
505-926-1410.
And if you're in New Mexico, that's a local call.
Exactly, yes.
So when we left for the break, I have my co-host here today, Ranger Joe Kelisek from the Illinois National Guard. He was actually in the, what rank did you make it up to in the Rangers?
Oh, the Rangers, that was my first enlistment.
Yeah.
I was a young man then, very young.
Yeah.
But once a Ranger, always a Ranger, kind of like a Marine,
Yeah, well.
Only better.
Yes, yes. I'll tell you what, and people think that the Special Forces are really hot. They're good guys, that the Navy SEALs, oh, look at those. And you got Marine Force Recon and everything. But I think that if I was to take a platoon, 40 Special Forces guys, and put them all together, or 40 Navy SEALs, put them all together, and put them up against one platoon of the Rangers would wipe them all out. That's my opinion.
It's a good opinion.
Good opinion.
Well, like all opinions,
Yeah, but I think it's because they fight as a team, where it's a lot more individual on the other sides.
In the special operations community, we work with each other. So we've worked with all the special operations wings of the various forces. They all have a different function, and they all do their jobs, 110%, they're supposed to. They're a special unit from their branch, and that's what they do. So, I respect all of them. We all have a healthy respect for each other, and we like to play with each other. That we're better than you, but we also know that we rely on each other because those units have to work in such small numbers. They do rely on each other. One special operations unit from one branch will be helping another in many of the operations that they do. So kudos to all of them.
Yeah, I was special operations for 10 years. I was psychological operations. We fell under Special Operations Command there. Right. But it was a big difference from being in the big service, being in the big Army. Yeah, I think in special operations, they treat you more like an adult.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So, like I said.
Sometimes you even behave like an adult.
So, yeah, sometimes you're forced to behave like it. You don't want to. You're like, oh, my God, this is the perfect opportunity to just have fun and go foolish. I mean, who's it going to hurt? And then you're like, oh, it's time to adult.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Where if you're just a regular Joe, right, then you have no qualms about.
We always lose those that go over the edge. The black Chinook will come and take them away.
I never heard that one before. The black Chinook.
A black
All right,
Chinook,
so so next week, I'm going to be bringing in my expert, my good friend. He's a retired state's attorney for Cook County, and also he worked a long time with the Attorney General's office for Cook County. He is a federal firearms guy, and he is a top-notch instructor for concealed carry. So he has some legal expertise. Although we're not given legal advice, we will state facts, but we don't give legal advice. I'm not an attorney, and that's not what we talk about.
Not the purpose of this.
But we're going to talk about, you ask a question where you don't need top-notch legal advice, just need a factual answer about concealed carry. And I think that's maybe that'll drum up a lot of interest. And you'd be surprised what my opinions are on concealed carry, having been a retired military guy and a retired Chicago police detective. So see us next week, same time, 14, same time, same channel. Can I say Bat Channel?
The what channel?
The Bat. Okay, so I'm dating myself. The old Batman shows. They used to be on twice a week.
What channel?
Twice a week, same bat time, same bat channel. So, same time, Saturday, noon to 1, WRMN, 1410 a.m., the Fox River Valley Media Network out of Elgin. Again, if you missed the whole show, it's actually forever on YouTube, man. Once it's on the internet, it's forever.
It is forever.
That is right.
Yeah. So you go and stream this show. Just make sure that you hit the like and subscribe. Subscribe to WRMN, because that pushes you up in the algorithms. And if you want to talk about algorithms and artificial intelligence, I could talk about that too. But next week, our prime thing is going to be the concealed carry. But that's a good thing. I think the next week after that, I will talk about artificial intelligence and how it affects the military, maybe law enforcement, and also, my goddaughter would be mad for me using AI. It's machine learning.
You have artificial intelligence, don't you, Chief?
I do.
And they put that in there in MI school?
Well, like I said, it's machine learning, but it's not really intelligence. It's someone's opinion, again, because someone writes the algorithms, if then.
Yes, and Chief is now really into algorithms. So
Oh, my God.
Please smash the like button for.
I used to be able to work a slide rule. Wait, that's logarithms.
Logarithms?
Yeah, that's different than algorithms.
Ah, okay.
Logarithms are just sections of sections of a circle, or conic sections, cone sections, and everything. That's how geometry and that stuff all works.
That's trigonometry.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
There you go.
But you can forget how to use a slide rule. Like you can forget how to solve a Rubik's Cube.
You can forget your phonetic alphabet, too. It's India, by the way. Not Ida.
I know, but so I have to say that I mix up my phonetic codes because the police department has a different one than the Army. All right. Goodbye. See you next week. But stay tuned. There's going to be another show coming on.
Stay tuned.
Awesome. What episode is this, by the way?
I don't keep count, but I think it's like 8. Huh?
Episode 8? Episode 9? Something like that.
You got to keep track of your episodes. I know that's important in radio talk, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let me see, because I could do it by the calendar now, because I haven't been on that. And I skipped the first week. I was
former
superseded.
Still my favorite DJ.
Who?
He just did his 200th show.
Who?
DJ Zorn on my radio station online.
Thanks so much for joining us today, folks. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
So.